Welcome to Stu's Inspirations, episode 5. And today I am joined by the gorgeous, marvelous, fabulous, and very, very close friend, Sasha Regan. Now, Sasha and I go back quite a long way. And I know that she started as a dancer. I'm going to say that, but we're going to check in a second. And she is inspirational to me because she started one of the first fringe venues that I know of anyway, which is the Union Theatre. So welcome, Sasha Regan.
Hello,
Darling, how are you? Is it Regan? Did people say Regan or Reagan?
It is Regan, yeah.
It is Regan. Does anyone ever get it confused?
Oh yeah, Ben De Winter has been my business partner for about 20 years still because there's Regan. And I'm like, no, Ben, it's Regan. But it was Lisa originally, that was my maiden name. Then I was Regan, and then I was Moores. But because all the work I'd done was Regan, it's more or less just a stage name, really.
I'm going to call you Ronald from now on, just for...
Yeah, okay, so I've got to go now.
How are you, my darling? Are you finding this lockdown a bit of a nightmare?
Yes, in a word. It feels like, we were trying everything in 2020 and we took all the theatre seats out, and then we did drinking outside, then we had live music outside, then we started producing stuff in different places, like on the farm and things like that. And then
so before we go down that road, I just need to explain about what you do. So because I said you're a dancer, which it was the case. Am I right there?
In 1942, yes.
It was not. It was the same time that, because actually, interestingly enough, we both worked for Kevin Wood, didn't we?
Yeah, but I just knew very quickly that wasn't very good. I wasn't good enough. So then I went on to uni.
Babes, you were working. You were good.
Yeah, but I love, my mum had a ballet school, so I've grown up in that environment, and I think that's why I love musicals, because when I direct them, I love, everything that the female body or male body can do, and so I have that eye when I direct. I think that's what I like.
Oh, so that's really interesting. So you think that whole sort of history with your mum's school and then you being a dancer and everything else has really paid you to become the producer, director, theatre owner, etc., entrepreneur that you are?
Yeah, I think when I watch a musical, I know whether a routine is working or not. I might not be able to get up and do it myself, but I can appreciate what's gone into it and what story it should be telling. So therefore, as a director of musicals, I think it's a really nice tool to have. Don't ask me to demonstrate it, but I know if it's not right.
But don't forget, I've worked for you, and I think I have seen you try and demonstrate a little bit before.
You have.
No, do you know what? It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to work for you and to perform at the Union. I literally love it. So tell me a little bit about the history of... So I kind of want to get like a picture of how you started before we get into the whole lockdown thing and how you coped during that. I really feel like I need to sort of paint a picture of how you got from dancer, mum with a ballet school, to suddenly the Union Theatre in is it Southwark? Southwark.
Yeah. So I went and did. I went off to uni and did drama and sociology.
Oh.
Don't ask why I did sociology. I think
that's a good couple in.
I know. I still have recurring nightmares about sociology, waking up in a hot sweat thinking, I don't know what I'm doing here.
I'm not really sure what I know what sociology is.
Well, for example, we studied for one of our segments that we studied East London and how the waves of different communities come into the east of London and leave once they become more successful. And it's, so it's society and how society changes. Yes. And how families and people live within an area, rural communities, cities, and all the theories behind it. So it was really interesting, but it had absolutely nothing to do with doing the drama sessions as well at the same time. And then I graduated, got an agent, but spent most of my time doing telesales in a place called Citywise. And everyone in there, we were all actors or musicians or singers.
Did you have, because I did a bit of, I keep getting emails, I did a bit of telesales as well. And did you have a bell to ring at the front whenever you got I remember doing it when I was younger, and they basically put us in this room. We had a script to follow. We had to go through all these phone numbers to phone up. And then if you got a bite or you got a lead, you had to go to the front of the room and ring a bell. Well, can you imagine how much I love that?
I remember being in a chipboard sort of booth, and it was just so dull. A lot of it was market research as well. So it was cold calling people. Oh. And whenever the boss left or any of the management walked out of the room, the wheelie chairs would just go back and be chatting, getting away with doing as little as possible. Because it was mind-numbingly boring. And I think actually those sort of jobs, when you're in them, surrounded by people that do the same thing as you sort of start chatting and conversations happen and you have to find a way out. And I think essentially that's what happened to me. I was just so bored. I was like, let's open a theatre. I was 23 and I met a couple of actors and we decided to put on a play. And so we hired the Bird's Nest in Deptford. And I think the seats were literally on wooden pallets. And you could hear the karaoke downstairs from the landlady and everything. But my mum and dad sort of sold it out for the week because my dad had a shop in Blackheath. And we invited agents down, sent out our old 10x8s.
Yes. Did you go to Visualise to get them printed?
Was that the one behind Charing Cross Station?
Yeah, everyone used to go there.
Send out about 3 a year. Using all the paperweights and stuff. And it was doing that, hiring a couple of venues as a theatre company where you were just able to sort of have some sort of control of your destiny and some sort of hope that you would get a better job or someone would see you.
But that was great that you sort of harnessed that sort of positivity, because I can remember being in those days, and you know, it's funny because when I think back to it, I've got a lot of friends that were successful, and I wasn't unsuccessful, but I was always, I get occasional jobs, really, really like sparse. It wasn't really regular. Yeah. And I tried to look like them. And I remember thinking, I've got to be as cool as possible. I've got to be as tanned as possible. I've got to be as dancey as possible. And actually, the reality is that if I'd have just gone my way, I would have been far more successful.
You've got a lot less work.
Yeah, that's true. No, but the thing is that you do think to yourself, in reality, society is completely different. So there is all different shapes and sizes. And I feel like instead of trying to be a carbon copy of the person they've already got one of them.
Oh, sorry, wait a minute. Oh no, where are you?
Oh, have you lost me?
There we go. No, I had you're completely right. I had a Q&A with loads of third year students at Mount View the other week. And they were saying, what do we do? I mean, it's bad. It's horrific, isn't it? Heading out into an industry that doesn't really exist at the moment. But yeah, trying to think about all the auditions that I've held over this last a lot of years. And it is actually being yourself. And that's such a wanky thing to say and so hard, because who knows what they are or who they are when you're young. But when you walk into a rehearsal room, if you're the girl with the short bobbed red hair and the DM boots, I think you're more likely to be remembered at the end of the day than if you're trying to fit in. And when they come out of drama school, there's this tendency for all the boys to look the same and almost wear the same clothes.
Yeah.
Do you remember, was it in like the late 90s, everyone came with check shirt, boots with the jeans rolled up and those little brown lace-up boots?
Yeah, everyone.
Can't remember anyone. You're like, the one in the check shirt, no, that one in that check shirt, no, that. Yeah. So actually you need to be memorable and you need to be confident, but when you're young, you have confidence.
I can remember going up for Cats years ago, and I can't remember, Gillian Lynn, was only allow you in the door if you wore jazz shoes. I remember it being like, and I had these split sole Capezio boots because everyone was like wearing those at the time. Yeah. And I wasn't allowed to go. Like everyone was like, oh, you can't wear those, you can't wear those. And I think to myself, now I'm so self-assured, I know exactly who I am. Yeah. I'd be like that, well, that's fine. If you don't want to see me, don't see me just because of the bloody shoes I'm wearing. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's so, yes.
Or you'd go in a cat suit.
I would 100% go in a cat suit. I'd be like that, giving it like, meow, meow. Yeah, it depends how much I really wanted it. Yeah, so carry on. So you, what were we saying? Where were we?
I hired a couple of venues.
Yes, that's right. So that's what we're saying. So hold on, you harness that opportunity, and like to do that at that age, to go, I'm just going to hire a venue and put something on. That's pretty impressive. Like no one was doing that.
I think because my mum and dad were both self-employed, I've always had a little bit of that in me. Like I used to hire out the boats on the Thames when I was doing my A-levels, and I'd hire it and have no money up front to do it. I don't know quite how it happened really, but I would hire it and then sell tickets for 15 quid to everyone at doing their A-levels or at school, and they would all buy tickets, and then I'd probably make about 75 because I'd done my maths wrong probably, but and Bee's done it. My daughter, she's just turned 18. She started a business in lockdown, and it's
I saw
really
that.
well.
It's just obviously in you. My dad was a self sort of employed. I mean, he was dreadful at it. He was literally the worst businessman ever. But he tried. I mean, he had Spies Are Us.
What's that?
He used to have spy gadgets, like recording in a pen. You could record things, and it's ridiculous. So people used to hire him, and he'd go and sit in a car park and watch some woman's husband all day to see if having an affair. I mean, it's ridiculous. And he called it Spies Are Us. I mean, come on.
Nelly wanted to be a spy when she was growing up. I bought her a briefcase from Oxfam and filled it with spy gadgets, and she went around the shopping precinct with a spy case.
That's fantastic. Well, Dad, I also remember coming home one day. This is pretty impressive actually, because years ago, we're talking like 80s. So my dad had a taxi company, and he decided to change the taxi company to something called Fast Food Fast. And I came home from school one day, and there was all these complete strangers in my front room, and I was like, who are you? And the phone rang, and I went to answer it, and this complete stranger answered it, went Fast Food Fast, and they said, I'd like 20 Benson Hedges and McDonald's Big Mac or whatever. And so this driver that was in my front room would get on his car, go to the newsagent, buy 20 Benson Hedges, go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac, and then deliver it to their house. So that was Deliveroo in the 80s. But he didn't realise that was a possible like major money maker. He was before his time, my dad, bless him.
But yeah, look at Deliveroo. That's amazing if that had taken off. And if you could have delivered spy gadgets,
everyone's a winner.
Yeah.
So you hired these venues.
Yeah. And then I think my dad, we'd been to Southwark Playhouse. Do you remember the old one in the little courtyard?
I loved the old one.
Really magical. And going there, I didn't know that places like that existed. I didn't know that you could go to small venues like that. And so it all happened really quickly. I didn't want a pub theatre because I'd experienced problems at one of the venues we were at, and it was literally the landlady shouting up the stairs to a dog when you're mid-period drama type thing. I mean, it's funny now, but it's not when you're on stage.
It's not, my darling. No, very serious business.
So I went to Network Rail because I thought, there were these big old warehouses, and I'd always been at the Young Vic Youth Theatre when I was younger, till I was about 19, 20, whenever they kick you out. So I loved that area, and went to see about 5 different railway arches, and then we found the one at the Old Union, and it had been empty for 3 years, I think. When I saw it, it was like full of water, no electric, no gas. I mean, it was a real state, and I think I got rent free for 6 months or something, and that was it. I've got a Prince's Trust loan and a bank loan, which was about 9,000 all in, and a credit card, and then we just did it. I think when you're young, you're just brave.
Yeah.
And you don't have kids or a mortgage, and you don't have anything at all. So you've got nothing to lose, have you?
No, that's
true.
true.
Do something like that when you're older is scary, isn't it?
I suppose it is, but you don't ever see it. Like, because when the union closed at the old one and then you open the new one across the road, I mean, that could have been a major flaw for you, like, because everyone knew the old one, and to secure that amazing venue across the road, and I should imagine it's more expensive because you've got upstairs and everything else. So, I mean, I don't know, but
It's like tenfold to what the old one was.
Exactly. And so, but you never ever seemed that fazed by it.
What? Yeah, but you know what? People think I'm calm. I've learned a lot about myself over this last year, trust me, but I think I stay calm on the outside, and then something like that move, I'll get psoriasis with something from my neck down to my toes.
So it comes out physically with you.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because I can see as someone in the reflection in your mirror. Hello, who's that?
Bee's in a gown.
Hi, Bee.
Hi. You're on a podcast, Bee. You want my phone?
Congratulations on university.
Thanks. Yeah, so I come, or like the building work, we had about 2 months to do that massive refit, and I programmed a show in ridiculously because I knew that I had to get money to start coming in, and I just remember one day if something just reaches breaking point, doesn't it? I just remember going behind the skip, crouching down and crying for about half an hour, and then you just get up and right, that's it, I'm done, right, let's go back in, because I think it flooded about a week before we were opening.
And
the old union was always soggy, wasn't it? And I used to mop all the time, and so then when I was here and I had a phone call from the builder saying union's flooded, and I thought, I don't really care, and they went, no, the new union's flooded, and the whole of the theatre area was about an inch thick in water, and it was literally spraying out of brick walls.
No.
The Network Rail then came in and clad it with that black metal stuff, but I just thought, I can't move somewhere with leaks again. I've been mopping for 10 years when the show's on before people come out for the interval. So
it is funny though, because I've worked with a lot of directors in my time, and sometimes it can be quite painful when you're working with someone. You can see them getting stressed, and you're trying to give your best, but if the director's getting stressed, you just want to please that person. It's really lovely when you're working for you, because you might be going crazy on the inside, but you never show it, and you have got a very calm exterior. And I think it makes your actors want to do the absolute best for you. It really comes over. Like, I love doing Whistle Down the Wind. I adored it. And it was just such a positive experience. And I really think that's I think maybe you're calm.
Maybe at the beginning, I used to go home and cry a lot when I first started directing. Because what happens as a director, when you walk into the room, everyone, they're like, come on then.
Yeah, go on in.
Do your job, especially when you do a panto or something. If you're directing a panto and you've got some, how shall I put this?
A star, a Z-list.
Some dodgy comedian or something who literally starts doing a roll-up as you start your introductions, and then wants to walk out and go and have a fag, just as that. And they are literally looking at you as a woman, I think, particularly thinking, she's not going to know how to do comedy. She won't be able to make my gags funny, and you just have to hold your nerve. It's like poker, isn't it? You hold your nerve and you think, I do know what I'm doing. I can put a show together, and I can create lovely little pieces of work.
So you've got to back yourself.
Yeah, you've got to have a poker face, and you've got to be calm. And ultimately, after all these years, it is just a piece of musical theatre. And if you surround yourselves with talented, good people, you know that you can get there.
Yeah.
Even if the script's not that great and it doesn't fly sometimes, you've still done the best that you can do with what you have.
Yeah.
You'd have to be really rubbish to screw it up, really, wouldn't you?
I don't know, because there's lots of people that do. Maybe. I would never name them, but there are lots of people that do. And so, it just goes to show that actually, no, that's not true. And actually also it's got to be a happy company. And I think that's really important to get the best out of, because no one wants to be there if it's not.
And I definitely think that comes from the top down.
Oh, I 100% agree with you.
Over the years, the only arguments normally are creatives or, you know, people having hissy fits. And generally, I don't actually think it is the cast a lot of the time. It'll be those people that are really under pressure, thinking they're not going to get something delivered in time, or maybe. Generally, that doesn't.
I think it's the same in all businesses, though, that if you've got strong leadership from the top, then it filters down through. And actually, I know that I'm going to segue dogs into this, because obviously, but that's the same with the animal kingdom. Like, generally, there's usually a top dog, and everyone else behaves depending on how the top dog behaves. Are you with me?
Yeah.
How's Gilbert?
Well, Gilbert's with Neil a lot of the time.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of separation, is
so you've separated with Neil, and Neil was Gilbert was a cockapoo?
Schnoodle.
I can't believe I got it wrong. So Gilbert was a schnoodle.
Is a schnoodle still.
And you've now got a new little puppy.
Yeah, we've got Winnie.
And Winnie's is she a spaniel, an English Springer?
Springer.
Oh my God.
Well, what are you laughing at?
Because you've gone from a schnoodle to a Springer, and I can't wait to talk to you about the different personalities of those two dogs.
Well, the thing is as well, when we drove up to Lincolnshire to get her, it was a bit of a spur of the moment thing. And I said to the girls in the back of the car, it was New Year's Eve, if I get to that home and it's not right, we get back in the car and we drive home. You don't take it, do you? And as soon as we pulled up at this house in Lincolnshire, they were so lovely. I don't think we could have walked out of the house with her. In the kitchen where they'd had all the puppies, the dad had created a cardboard house with windows, a chimney, and cotton wool floating clouds coming out of the chimney for the mum and Doris to sit in. That's so cute. But Doris, wait for it, was a sprudel. So she was a Springer poodle and looked like a brown and white sheep. She was like a ball of curls.
So hold on, what was Doris?
Doris was the mum. She was a sprudel.
Oh, Doris.
I know, but the dad is a working Springer. He's, I think the granddad in the family is a gamekeeper. So Winnie's dad is a gamekeeper's dog, and Doris looks like she's had a perm. And
oh my God, that's so, because she really does. Because what's your dog called? You what?
I'm not quite sure what Winnie will turn out. Whether she'll have a bit of curl in her. Maybe.
So her name's Winnie.
Yeah.
Well, because I was just thinking that, I wonder, is she more sort of working Springer? Like, is she got loads and loads of furnishings, or is she quite sparse with the furnishings? Is she thin?
Yeah, she's quite thin. She's only like 4.
She's only 4 months. She's a baby.
Clever. Really clever.
Oh, yeah.
But then this morning she pooed out a sports sock.
Right.
Like, what the hell is that? And I think it was a sports sock. She loves socks and knickers.
Did you have to pull it out?
No, it was just there.
Oh, Sasha, that's really hilarious.
She must have been in agony, wasn't she? Or maybe not. I don't know. I've never eaten a sports sock. But
well, I haven't.
Definitely. If I'm putting my washing out on, on the air dryer thing.
Yeah.
We can't hang anything down now because she likes to pinch all the socks and knickers. I haven't got a pair of knickers that haven't got Winnie teeth marks in them.
Oh, bless her.
They're flat on top. So, but shoes are safe, furniture's safe.
Yeah. They're crazy though, like, because I grew up with English Springer Spaniels, and they are absolutely nuts. Let me tell you that. Because they need so much access. They just love to run around and do stuff, and always looking for stuff to do. And they're like, it's, mind you, schnoodles, the schnauzer side of things, they're a bit nuts too, aren't they? So maybe.
Yeah, he's naughtier, definitely. Gilbert's 4 now, and he'll still occasionally decide to not come back on the lead. When they do that thing when they think it's a game to jump around.
Yeah.
And where she's off the lead already, I'm really good at that.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And sits And what else does she do? Weights. She uses the mat. Not having too many accidents anymore. So I
Has
think
she started?
train.
Have you noticed any hair around the house?
No, not yet.
You'll definitely get it.
I'm going to get hairy, which is exactly what I didn't want. That's what
Yeah.
Gilbert had a Sprudel and then, whatever it was called. And yeah, that's not what I thought.
Yeah, they
But
don't get, because they don't shed. But
so affectionate. I
oh,
don't remember him being like that. She literally curls up like a cat on your lap, sits next to you, goes around your neck. I think she might be part cat.
maybe she is. Do they like sports socks?
I don't know. Yeah, that affection and the need for cuddles is really sweet. And even though she's getting longer and longer, she'll still want to lay completely across you or literally lay like a baby.
Well, you've seen Ralph. I mean, he does that.
Yeah.
He's massive.
Yeah. It's really sweet. He wasn't, yeah, Gilbert. Maybe that's what it's like having a bitch compared to a dog, though. I don't.
Yeah, I think with some, I think you could be right. I wonder then when all this finishes and the lockdown happens and we get rid of the lockdown. I wonder if she'll have any kind of separation.
Yeah.
Issues.
I think a lot of dogs, don't you? That's going to happen, and children.
Yeah. I was talking to actually a producer the other day I was talking to, and they was talking about different effects that the longer lasting effects that the lockdown are going to have on the pet community. It's just going to be a bit of a nightmare. And I think a lot of people, I think we're going to find that our rescue centres might be a bit overwhelmed once the lockdown's over, because people will go, I can't cope, and the neighbours are complaining, the dogs are howling. And I feel like I don't know, it's not going to be down to me, but I hope someone brings out like videos of tricks or things that you could do to sort of get that transition, the change where you've gone from being there all the time to slowly introducing times where they're on their own.
This sort of age, at like 4 months, you'd start leaving her for half an hour at a time and stuff like that, would you?
That's what I would do. I would start in a crate and go in a different room for half an hour, give her a time out and see how she. You didn't do a crate, or just a different room?
We had one of those canvas ones because I thought that's quite good because I can take it to different places. And I said to the girls, we're going to put her in the crate now. And we sat in the front room and we had a baby gate as well between here and the front room. Literally, it was like dum, 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 dum. She unzipped the top of the crate, got out, jumped over the top of the baby gate and just walked into the front room.
I can remember when we first got Maggie, me and James were like, right, absolutely. So Maggie's like a Shih Tzu Bichon cross. She's small.
Yeah.
And I remember me and James were like, right, we're absolutely not going to allow her in our bedroom at night. So she's going to sleep downstairs and it's going to be, the perfect world. So night, Maggie, see you tomorrow. So me and James go upstairs to bed and we're just, night, James. And the scratching on the door, and then it's getting louder and louder. I'm like, just ignore her, James, because it'll pass. Give her 10 minutes. Literally, within about 5 minutes, me and James there's me, Maggie, and James. And she's very happy. And that's where she stayed all of her life. She's 14 now.
Yeah. I remember that with Gilbert. But when he got to a certain age, you would say no off. And he, slightly older, would just know that he just jumps off the bed and goes and sleeps on the floor. So I just think, I just couldn't do she escaped all the time, but we didn't do it with Gilbert either. We couldn't leave that crying.
Oh yeah, it's too much.
I don't have much space for a massive gate in here, a crate. Yeah, it's difficult. I do think I left her the other day just to go to Asda or something on Bee's birthday and do some deliveries for Bee for her business. And we left her for maybe 45 minutes. And she was fine when we came back. But I'm starting the drama school direction just in the afternoons in a couple of weeks' time. And the girls will be going back to school.
Are you going to take her with you?
No, but I think there's enough people around that could probably do a little bit of dog sitting and stuff. And Bee's not there because she's doing her A-levels. She won't be at school every day.
No, so it'll be. I'm sure it'll be absolutely. I'm sure you'll be able to cope with it. But do you know what I do? Like I've got those little canary, like house cameras.
Oh, have you? So you look.
So I can watch what they do. Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, it gets boring after a couple of weeks, but the first day you get it, you're like, the first day you get it, you can't stop looking at it, and you're like, oh my god, what they're gonna do now? But yeah, I know what they do now, but it was a good little investment, and they're not very expensive on Amazon. So
and do they just sort of whine for like half an hour and then they'll settle down? And
mine don't do anything like that now. I mean, Maggie occasionally barks at the window. She's the only one. The other three are literally like, shut the hell up, Maggie.
Yeah.
You can see them all going, for God's sake. But she's the only one that's been on her own. So she was my first dog. And so I used to go into the West End or whatever from my flat and then come back. And James used to go to his office. And so she would be on her own for a good section of the day.
Yeah.
And because she got separation anxiety, then we got Molly. And so Molly has always been with Maggie. And then we got Ralph, he's always been with Maggie and Molly. And then we've got Nelson, who's always been with Ralph, Maggie and Molly. So Maggie's the only one that has been on her own and so knows that there's a potential chance that we might be gone for more than 10 minutes. Yeah. And so she cries. And she's always done it all her life.
But as soon as we all go back to work, these puppies that everyone's bought in lockdown aren't going to hit them.
But I also think that lots of people will realise that they can work from home.
Yeah. Although I do, obviously people will, and obviously a lot of companies will save a lot of money not by having offices. When you look out of the window in Southwark, all of those offices in that community, it's like a ghost town up there.
It's such a shame.
Businesses cannot bring them back. I'm sure they will rethink that, but
I don't think they will, because
ultimately, what happens to those young people that are coming into a life with working from home? Where do you meet your friends? Where do you go for a drink after? Where do you meet your potential husband or wife or partner? You're not.
It's going to be a virtual world, isn't it, for them?
Yeah, really, probably quite lonely world if that's what happens.
Especially in London, mind you. I mean, it opens it up to more people that aren't in London necessarily.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in London's a very lonely place. Like, having lived there myself, I think that unless you've got someone, it can be quite isolating.
Yeah, 100%.
So, it's not like living in Hastings, because I live in Hastings. I can go down the seafront and I'll see friends, and it's people that you see, like if I go running, I might see the people that I run with, or it's a small community. But in London, it's just, everyone is so vast and everyone lives in their own little pods and don't really move out of those areas, that actually I think it could be a major problem for...
Unless you have a dog.
Exactly.
Nothing like it. It's the fun. Even when you have a newborn baby, you get people asking what their name is, but other mums generally aren't as friendly as dog owners.
No, and actually the mums will talk to each other, the dog people will talk to each other, the bicycle people will talk to each other.
It's the most wonderful thing. You literally talk to strangers, and you can stand there for 10-15 minutes and you'll wish each other a lovely day and off you go, and it's there's nothing like it.
My friend Peter used to say to me, Stuart, can I borrow Ralph, because I haven't got a boyfriend and I'm going down Old Compton Street later. So it would be very handy.
A friend of mine looked after Winnie the other day, and he said, so I'm in the park and this guy started chatting to him, obviously socially distanced. The man is recommending to him where the best pet shops are, where the nicest walks are. And he said, I couldn't say to him, it's not my dog, I've just got it for a couple of hours. He said, because he was really hot. You just think, you attract people when you have, especially you've got a cute little looking one like Winnie. So
exactly.
Maybe that's a new business. Rent the Winnie out to...
Exactly. See if you can... Actually, there could be a TV show there somewhere. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
See?
Dog dating. Ooh.
What was it called?
Dog dating.
Doggy dating. Well, I think that, it's a possibility. You just never know, do you? Especially if they can do that thing that I watched last night about balancing money. Gordon Ramsay's got a new TV show where you balance bricks on this thing that... Oh, anyway.
I don't get balancing stuff on the dogs.
No, it's nothing to do with dogs, but it's also nothing to do with cooking. So I don't really understand why Gordon Ramsay's doing it. But anyway... So when you, so have you got plans now for the next big thing at the union?
No.
I'm sure it'll happen soon.
It will. It's really difficult because over that last year we did make so many changes and I tried so many different things. I feel like that last lockdown. You know, when you feel like see those inflatable things outside. I felt like that. I get knocked down. I kept coming back up, going, "It's fine. I'll do this. I'll do that." And had actually quite a good year last year, doing things that I never imagined I would do. So that was lovely. But then that December 13th through to this one, it just, no one was doing anything. You know, the only emails you get are junk email. And
it's got to be to do with the weather as well, because you're where you are, that lovely outside courtyard area, and the you know, it's perfect for socially distanced kind of, you know, music, drinks, food. It's ideal. But of course, as soon as the temperature goes down, people are like, it's too cold to go to Southwark.
Yeah. And was it yesterday or the day before, when it was sunny and I walked along to the Thames, and I started to feel good again then. You know, you just think, yes, the spring is coming. The announcements came out. And so, you know, I've got meetings next week and we'll figure things out. But having the dog, that was a massive part of getting her as well. Having Gilbert in the first lockdown, walking for maybe 3 hours a day.
Yeah, well, you came down to
them. Yeah, I came to you, didn't we, to walk, but I talked to them. They're like the best therapy. They really are.
Yeah.
And I'm walking through the woods for an hour at a time, and I'm talking out loud, going, right, Sasha, you need to pull yourself together. You need to do this. Say that. Don't do this. Then you can do this. And I'm sure some people can hear me sometimes.
So what though? Because that's how you deal with your mental health. I 100% agree with you. It's all about, you know, dog ownership, having something to care for. That what you were doing was deflecting your voice so that Gilbert was sort of speaking back to you. And I 100% get it. I do it all the time. I'm constantly talking to Ralph.
Yeah, and they don't judge, do they?
They don't. My favourite thing, that, because obviously when in the summer you came down to me and we had a nice walk, didn't we? Yeah. And the thing that I still tell this story because it cracks me up, that Nell had left her brace in your bag. When we say brace, it was like brace as in retainer, the thing that you put in your mouth.
It wasn't a real brace.
It what?
It was her brace.
It was her brace, yeah, her brace. And was in your bag, wasn't it? When we came into the kitchen, you were like, "Oh, we're going to go now." And we were like, "Oh, God, what's that on the floor?" And Molly, my Bichon, had got it out. And she was basically chewing it.
Yes. We got into trouble for that when we went back to the dentist.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry. Sorry now.
Right? Just have visions of a dog with a brace in, wandering around.
I know. I wish it was false teeth. Wouldn't that be fun? No, I think you're right. I think physical sort of exercise in this lockdown, especially with dogs, it just gives us an excuse to get out. And at the moment, down in Sussex, walking along the beach with the sun, because the sun's out, we've got nice weather at the moment, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it just makes you feel so positive. And I was talking to a neighbour. You what?
No, you finish.
I was just talking to a neighbour earlier, and she was saying that I can't remember what I was going to say. I said it's nice because the news has changed from like negative to suddenly, there's a little bit of positivity, and we haven't had any positive news on the media for over a year. And so I know that Boris is absolutely full of it, but to just have that like horizon, I know there's lots of hurdles to go over, but you start to think, actually, there might be a way out of this after all.
There will be, 100%.
Well, I've always said to you, haven't I?
Do you find, though, that because we're out as dog walkers in the sleet, the snow, I wear 2 coats and a hoodie, and that when the weather changes and suddenly people are in the park that shouldn't be there because they don't have a dog, you're like, you're not here when it's cold and raining 3 times a day at 7 a.m. You shouldn't be here now.
Get out of my park.
Yeah. And they all start moaning about the dogs.
I was walking along the seafront this morning, and there was a family that I said to James, "They're too close to me. They're too bloody. Can you please just give me some?" I was like, for God, I didn't say anything, but I said to James, "God, just a little bit of distance." And I thought, actually, you know, there's nothing compared to what it's going to be in the summer.
June 21st, when they said there may not be any social distancing. I can't quite envisage
No, it's going to be
when we're
so...
still masked and so scared of contact, how suddenly we'll all be like, woohoo, masks gone. And
Yeah, it's going to be so weird, isn't it? I think we've got masks for the rest. But they were saying that they might bring the masks back for the winter months and off for the summer months.
I do also think maybe that because in different cultures they use them, don't they, as a way of protecting you from colds. So if I've got flu, I would automatically put a mask on, which I think is a really decent thing to do now.
Yeah. I've always like, you know, funny enough, weirdly enough, in my salon, whenever I've had one of my groomers has got a cold or anything, I make them wear a mask. I've always done it.
So that's really good though, isn't it? Maybe that's just a polite thing that we should all do now, to respect not spreading our germs over everyone.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the right thing to do, isn't it? And I never really, I mean, I've been doing that for long before this, and I never really thought about it. But I just thought, you know, it protects for the rest of my staff. I don't want anyone else to go off with a cold.
So do you get to open your salon in April?
We're open.
Oh, are you? Because it's essential.
Well, it's welfare, yeah. So as long as people can say that they're having their dog groomed for welfare purposes, then we're okay to open.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Can you do men as well? Can you like cut their hair?
Only if they don't mind being strapped up.
There's some dodgy looking men wandering around right now with really bad hair.
They'd need to get on my table and get on all fours.
This is a family show.
That's true. I'm terribly sorry. Oh, so there's lots of positive, honestly, there's loads of positive energy from me going to the Union City. Did you have any, did you get COVID or did you have any connection with it?
No, I didn't. And I don't know how, apart from the fact that I started taking in vitamin D about 2 years ago. And I just don't know whether, because so many people around me had it, you know, nearly everyone that worked at the Union, so many different actors had it. I don't get how maybe I had it symptom free. I don't know.
Yeah, you might well have done, mightn't you?
I just might be lucky, but now I feel like it will be sod's law if I get it now, just as we're nearing the end. So I'm doing the symptom free testing, and we're just going to keep going every 2 weeks.
That's what I'm doing with my staff. I'm giving them lateral flow tests once a week.
Well, it's brilliant. On the local council, I booked an appointment. 10 minutes later, I just drove along, got it. By the time I got home, half an hour later, it was done.
That's amazing. What results? How long did it take you for the results?
No, they just text you. It was like, it took me half an hour, and I had my result, and it's free. So it might be anyone can do it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, they're setting them up everywhere. Mine's just at the local youth centre, I think. You have to do it yourself, which is the hideous thing, isn't it? Have you done them yourself?
Well, yeah, because I buy these like lateral flow tests, and you have to shove up your nose, and then you put it in some fluid, and then you suck the fluid into this other thing. It's a bit like a chemistry lab. I'm literally like, do you remember that chemistry? I feel like one of the Muppets. Boom, 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 boom.
Get them all mixed up, give everyone the wrong results.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. Because I made a bit of a fool of myself the other day because I tried to get a jab.
You tried not to?
No, I tried to get one. So yeah, I wanted to go to help my mum because my mum's got this, she's got like I'm going to say a brain thing. It's water. It's actually water on the brain, but it means that she can't use her body quite as well as she should be able to. And she can't I just wanted to help her make her bed and everything else, but she's frightened to let me in the house. So I've got these lateral flow tests, but I thought, I'm going to get a test because I know that she's a bit nervous. The fact that she's had a jab. I know that she's had her jab. My sister's had her jab, and I would feel better going into her house. I think she would feel better knowing that I'd had it. So I'd gone onto the Gov website, and it said, if you help someone with their personal care, you can get it. So I said, okay, well, that's what I do. And the little thing came up and said, when do you want to go? And I booked my test. And I got to the centre. Sasha, this is so mortifying. I got to the centre and I rocked up and I was like, hello there. I'd like to have my jab. Thank you very much. Here's my confirmation number. And I showed them my phone. And she said, can I have proof that you're a social carer? And I was like, well, no, I'm not. I said there was that option, but I care for my mum, as in I help with her personal care. no, we'd need a letter, so I'm sorry, but you can't come in. I can get someone to explain it to you if you like. And I was like, well, no, I don't need anyone to explain it to me. I'm not trying to jump the queue, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
it was really embarrassing.
Do you
Anyway,
reckon we'll all be done by July?
well,
Don't
they
you?
say that.
We've got population.
I hope so, but I can never go back there again because I had then had to turn around and walk past all these sort of elderly people that were queuing up, and they were all like at me. It was like the worst walk of shame ever.
With old people.
They were literally like, oh God, look at him, thinking he can cheat the system.
Yeah, and you were really smug before on your computer. Like...
Exactly. I was like that. Da, 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 da. Can't wait to share it on Facebook. Yes, I didn't do that. It was very embarrassing. Yeah, so I think we're all going to be done by July, so he says.
Yeah, hopefully. But and the thing is, with just to be able to open the bar at the Union in the daytime, when we did that last summer, people that had been isolating and not seeing anyone, just to come there on a Saturday and sit socially distanced from other people that everyone seemed to know everyone.
They did. It was really weird. I came down. It was really funny.
Like, sometimes you just need to see your people, don't you?
Yeah, you need to sort of reconnect.
And know that. And people were really honest. They were going, how are you finding it? I think it's really shit and I'm really struggling and I'm having anxiety attacks. And, people are really honest with each other. And then you can go home again thinking, oh, I've sat in the sun, I've laughed. Now I can get through this next 4 months.
You've had your fix. You get a little fix, don't you? I think that's really important.
People. So we're soon. What are we now? February, April, I think.
Well, it depends. I think it really depends. 100% think it depends on where in the world or in the country you are, because surely, like, if they've got, because not everyone's got the same amount of old people, have they? And some people are so it must be like, because I know people that are in, say, Coventry, for example, that are in their 50s that are getting it now.
Someone snapped my hair in Coventry.
What now?
Well, I was on tour and I was in a bar in Coventry and I turned around and the man was just smelling my hair. I was like that. Excuse me? He's like, that was my experience of Coventry.
There's something weird about that. I don't know what to say.
So I gave him my number.
Of course. Needs must. Needs must.
Lockdown.
So I think that, but I know people in Coventry that are in their 50s getting it, but down here it's their 60s. So, because obviously everyone's got a different amount of people that are in certain age groups. So it must be just completely different all over the country, surely.
Yeah. I can't add to that, but yes.
But also, do you know what? I was listening to the radio the other day, and this annoyed me because I'd just done the walk of shame from my vaccination centre, being tutted at by all the elderly. And some woman was on LBC listening. I was listening to LBC on the radio, and someone was talking to the presenter, and she said, "Oh yeah, because you can go along to your vaccination." I went with my husband. I hadn't booked it, but I went with my husband, and they said, "Do you want yours done, darling? Well, come on in. We'll do you too." And I was like, so. And then she was saying to everyone, "So go down to your local vaccination centres. Doesn't matter if you haven't got an appointment, and you'll get it." And I thought, you bloody won't, because I had to do the walk of shame.
And that would be chaos if everyone just started flooding.
Well, I mean, tell LBC that.
Well, I'll ring up next time.
Yeah, I'm going to write a letter to...
Angry from Hastings.
Yes, dear Esther.
Yeah.
Well, Sasha, on that note, I think it's been so lovely to talk to you. Oh, before you go, I need to ask you a question. How are you going to groom... Oh, I can't remember her name. Winnie.
I wonder what you're going to say then. How am I going to groom?
We're not in Coventry now, dear.
No, we're not. We wash her a lot because of the mud. And so Gilbert hates getting in the bar. But I think because she's been growing up in the mud as a young puppy, she literally sits in and hands her paw to me so I can wash under her paw, and then I lift up the other one and we do that one with her talcum powder flavoured dog shampoo. And and just brush her. But I don't know. I need to get advice on that.
I wonder who can give
Is
you
it right to
advice.
wash them a couple of times?
Yeah,
Is
you're
it
fine.
okay to wash them twice a day?
You can twice a day. Yeah, you can wash them as long as you use a good shampoo. You can wash them whenever you want to. A good pet shampoo, as long as you're not using human stuff.
Like Pantene.
Yeah, don't do that.
No.
But
I use the dog shampoo though.
You what?
Can I use the dog shampoo though when I run out of human shampoo?
Yes, you can. I did this morning.
Did you? When I've run out before, I have thought could I use that? Smells nice.
Well, why not? Exactly. Although I don't like the talcum powder ones. You know, I'm bringing one out soon.
No.
I'll send you some.
Yes.
I'll send you some. You'll love
I'll
it.
Insta it or whatever it is.
Insta, Twitter it. No, but she's going to need hand stripping.
I can't do that though, can I?
No, I'll do that.
That would be fab. Thank you.
You need to come and see me.
She is beautiful. Like, she's got the most beautiful eyes. And
I've seen her. I've seen photos of her. And in fact, yeah, I need to I'm going to put some photos on with this podcast so that our viewers, our listeners can see the beauty that is Winnie. Well, thank you so much again, Sasha, for talking to us today.
It's been lovely.
And I hope to see you in person very, very soon.
Yeah, 100%.
Love you lot. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.